With Miss Henderson said he had a stomach ache but really he was checking to see if you were okay. Smart kid, he's trying to protect you. The thought of her 7-year-old son carrying such a burden made Sarah's chest ache. I failed him, she whispered. No, Grace said firmly, you're surviving and now you're planning. That's not failure, that's being the mother he needs. A noise from the stairwell made them both tense. Grace smoothly switched topics, pulling out her phone. And these are my grandkids, she said loudly as Joe the janitor appeared, giving them a subtle nod before moving to the far end of the cafeteria. Sarah played along, making appropriate comments about the photos while her mind raced with new possibilities. When Grace stood to leave, she pressed one last item into Sarah's hand, a key locker for 37 in the staff gym. She murmured, it's registered to a resident who left last year. Clean clothes burner. Phone, some cash just in case you need to run before we can set things up properly. Sarah slipped the key into her pocket, feeling its weight like a lifeline. Why are you helping me? Grace's smile held both warmth and steel. Because 20 years ago someone helped me and now we help each other. She gathered her things, then paused. One more thing, that stuffed penguin. Tommy carries perfect hiding place for notes or small items. Kids' toys are the last thing they check. After Grace left, Sarah sat for a long moment, watching the night sky through the basement's narrow windows. Her phone buzzed. Marcus asking why she wasn't home yet. She typed a quick response about a difficult case, knowing he'd verify it with the charge nurse later. As she gathered her things to leave, Sarah caught her reflection in the darkened window. Behind the careful makeup and practiced smile, she saw something new in her eyes, a spark of the fighter she'd been before Marcus, before the slow erosion of her confidence. The woman who'd put herself through nursing school as a single mom, who'd rebuilt a life after losing her first husband. That woman wasn't gone. She realized she'd just been waiting, watching, planning. In her pocket, the key to locker 437 pressed against her thigh like a promise. The late August heat pressed against the windows of the bar at home like a physical force, but inside the air conditioning kept everything perfectly regulated. Too perfect, Sarah thought, watching Marcus adjust the thermostat for the third time that morning. Like everything else in their lives lately, the temperature had to be exactly to his specifications. Jennifer's coming today, Marcus announced, straightening his already straight tie in the hallway mirror. My sister finally decided to grace us with her presence. Sarah looked up from where she was packing Tommy's lunch, carefully measured portions, no cookies, just as Marcus insisted. I didn't know you had a sister. There's a reason for that. His voice held an edge that made Sarah's hands still. She's difficult, always has been, likes to cause trouble. The doorbell rang before Sarah could respond. Marcus's expression tightened as he moved to answer it. On the porch stood a woman who bore a striking resemblance to Marcus, but where his features were controlled, hers seemed somehow wilder, more alive. Jenny, Marcus said stiffly. Still Marcus, I see, Jennifer replied, pushing past him into the house. Her eyes landed on Sarah, softening with something that looked like concern. And you must be Sarah. I'm so sorry, I missed the wedding. You weren't invited, Marcus said sharply. No, Jennifer agreed, her smile turning sad. I wasn't. Tommy chose that moment to appear from his room, Captain clutched to his chest. As always, Jennifer's face lit up. And this must be Tommy. I love your penguin. His name's Captain, Tommy said quietly, glancing at Marcus before speaking. Perfect name, Jennifer said, kneeling to Tommy's level. You know, when Marcus was your age he had a stuffed elephant named General. Wouldn't go anywhere without it until Dad. Tommy, Marcus cut in, you're going to be late for school. Mrs. Henderson is waiting. After Tommy left, an uncomfortable silence fell over the living room. Sarah busied herself in the kitchen, but she could hear their voices carrying through the house. Why are you really here, Jenny? Can't a sister check on her brother, see his new family after 15 years of silence? Jennifer's laugh held no humor. That's what you're calling it? I tried to reach out so many times after Mom died, after what Dad did. Don't. Marcus's voice turned to ice. Don't you dare bring that up here, someone has to. Jennifer's voice rose. You're turning into him, Marcus. I see it happening all over again. The control, the isolation. Something crashed, a glass or vase. Sarah flinched at the sound. You know nothing about my life, Marcus said, his voice deadly quiet. I'm nothing like him. I protect my family like Dad protected us. Jennifer's voice cracked. Is that what you call this protection? Sarah heard movement. Then Jennifer appeared in the kitchen doorway. Her face was flushed, but her eyes were clear and focused. Sarah, she said quietly, do you have a minute alone? She doesn't, Marcus answered from behind her. Sarah has to get ready for work. Actually, Sarah forced herself to say, my shift doesn't start for an hour. Marcus's expression didn't change, but Sarah felt the temperature in the room drop. Jennifer pulled something from her purse, a business card. My number, she said, holding it out, in case you ever need to talk about anything. Marcus plucked the card from her hand before Sarah could take it. My wife doesn't need Your interference, Jenny. I think it's time you left. You can't control everything, Marcus, Jennifer said, but she was looking at Sarah. Eventually the truth comes out, just like with Dad after she left.